Welcome back. This week, as we continue talking about what to do in the midst of chaos, I wanted to share with you a commandment that Jesus gives to us as a scribe was asking him, what is the greatest commandment? In Mark chapter 12, verse 29 through 31, here's what happens. Jesus answers, "The most important is, listen, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other command greater than these." I would say, in the midst of chaos, one of the things that we need to be doing is loving our neighbor. In fact, as we go on from this text, the scribe who had asked this question goes on to emphasize, you answered this correct, Jesus. But he says, loving your neighbor as yourself is far more important than all the burnt offerings and all the sacrifices. So even the scribe who's trying to test Jesus recognizes this answer is correct. There is no greater thing that we could do than to love our neighbor. And so what I recognize important about this in the midst of chaos is that two things happen when we start loving others in the midst of our chaos, especially our neighbors. The first thing is our perspective tends to change. It can be easy in the midst of our own chaos to think we have it worse than everybody else, it's never going to get better, it's hopeless. But when we start plugging into other people's lives and loving on them, helping them in the midst of their own life struggles, it can be easy to start realizing maybe our life isn't as bad as we thought it is. Maybe there are others out there who have it worse than us. Doesn't minimize our pain, doesn't minimize our chaos, but it changes our perspective. And that's very helpful. The other thing with that is it also helps us to remember that we aren't alone. See, the enemy of your soul wants you to think in the midst of the chaos, you're alone in this. But when you recognize with others and love your neighbor that they also have stuff going on in their own lives, it reminds you you're not alone in this. Now the second thing is it allows us to enter into the will of God, right? Jesus, when he taught us the Lord's Prayer, he says, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done." And he says in this commandment, he says this is the greatest commandment. Love God and then love others. So when we are loving others, we are literally walking into the will of God for our lives. And when you walk into the will of God, you also walk into the peace of God. That peace that surpasses all understanding. That peace that can help you be at peace even in the midst of your own chaos. Even though the world seems like it's on fire and everything you try to use to put it out makes it worse, Jesus can bring that peace. So this week I encourage you, if you're facing chaos, if you're facing uncertainty, and you're looking for that peace in the midst of this chaos, love your neighbor. Find somebody who needs that love, somebody who needs that help, and come alongside them this week and see what God does in your life. And if this has blessed you this week, I encourage you, share it with somebody else who may need to hear it. May God bless you.